Will Hawkins, CEO and founder of Appifany and Rentsy.
You've got to be a sick individual to want to run two startups at once at different phases of growth. Over 250 businesses locally here signed up in a very short amount of time. The growth that we've had in such a short amount of time has just been phenomenal to see. And probably one of the hardest parts has been really...
In those dark moments when businesses did fail and you kept going, did you just have unwavering belief in yourself? Or was it more so the new idea came along and you had so much belief in that?
Definitely wasn't the first one. Definitely was not. Our team at Appifany is around 10, I think, at the moment. There's things that go on in business that your team just don't realize is happening behind the scenes. Showing up with that brave face, I think, is so important, and it's difficult. A lot of people end up as an entrepreneur and go, how did I get here doing this? And now I have this weird, crazy business. If you've ever seen some of those entrepreneurship diagrams, it is not a linear rise to the top. It is, this morning, I'm having the best day ever. And this afternoon, this is never going to work.
Most people sit on a business idea for their entire life and never hit go, right? Because of that fear. What was the mindset when you made that shift?
I'll be honest with you.
Welcome back to another episode of the Two Blokes, One Business podcast. You're here with Harv and Ads, and today we've got a really special guest with us.
We're joined with Will Hawkins, who's the CEO and founder of Appifany and Rentsy. So we think we're a bit crazy starting one business and potentially looking at two. Will's already gone and done it, so he's obviously not right in the head.
Yeah, no, you've got to be a sick individual to want to run two startups at once at different phases of growth.
But thanks for joining us, mate. I guess before we dive into the nitty gritty, again, what we're looking to do here is talk about before you started, when you started, after you started, what did you get right? What did you get wrong? What can people listening potentially save themselves a bit of pain and misery by not copying your mistakes and get right? And I think as Harv's, mentioned a fair bit for us when we started Harwell, we took so much inspiration from these kind of podcasts of one, bridging the gap of where we were as an employee to then wanting to start a business, seeing people do it was quite inspiring. Two, learning from the mistakes, as I mentioned then. And three, probably just being in the thinking of it. Rather than thinking, I want to be an entrepreneur, you kind of start to believe that you could be as well. So with that in mind, I guess, what's been your journey into the life today that you've got made, and what are you working on currently?
Yeah, so if we rewind the clock, I guess my first little business venture, I think I was about 6 years old. My parents had gone overseas, went to America, came back with all this American lollies and candy and stuff. So me and my sister actually set up like a little stall thing, and we would sell it all to the kids in there. The stuff we didn't like or didn't want.
Yeah.
So we kept the good stuff. That's what you do. But yeah, we were selling all the American candy and stuff to the kids on the block. Like, that's the very start of it all, right? The very first thing I did to sort of make a little bit of money and just to do something, right? And I think that's like obviously a big part of it is the entrepreneurial journey starts where you least expect it. And it's doing something that's sort of left field or you don't even realize and go, a lot of people end up as an entrepreneur and go, how did I get here doing this? And now I have this weird, crazy business. We talk to a lot of the people who found all of these different rental and hire businesses. And they were just like, yeah, I've now got this rental and hire business that I just didn't realize. And now I do snow cones and now I'm making this whole thing and I've got like a franchise and it's just crazy where this all stuff begins. But I guess that was sort of the start of my journey as a kid doing that. After that, as I sort of was in my teens, I would DJ parties at and we would charge an entry fee.
Nice.
So I was making great money on the weekend.
That's class.
And we were having great parties, obviously. So it's 15, 16 years old, $10 entry fee, 100, 200 people come to a party, you're making pretty good coin on a weekend. And having a good time doing it. So, little stuff like that. I guess as I was growing up, my dad was a very successful entrepreneur and he did a lot of things. He was on TV. He had a very successful horticultural business, but he was also in like horse racing and a bunch of different businesses really. So really I had a very entrepreneurial dad, but my mum was very like academic. So I kind of had that sort of, the two sides of it, the one side that was very much like, go out there, you can accomplish whatever you want, just do it. He'd sort of come from, or both of them had sort of come from nothing, but had established themselves and their lives in different ways. So dad was very entrepreneurial, mum was very academic. So mum was like, you've got to get a degree. You've got to like just constantly hammering at me, like, get your degree, get, this. She's like, do a stable job. Whereas he's like, no, you can build a business and you can build a whole life. So really that sort of balancing act. So where that sort of took me is after school, I ended up in Brisbane. I was actually like full-time professional DJing and playing festivals and played main stages of some festivals and stuff like that. So that's what I was kind of doing whilst being at uni. Not really.
Do you think university helped you for your journey now? Because we actually spoke about this on an episode a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because Ads has no degree. He went to the School of Life.
Yeah.
I went and got a business management degree, and we had a little debate.
Yeah. I think that they both help, right?
Yeah.
So my opinion of it, because I did actually end up going and doing a full degree, right? But I did it when I was older.
Oh.
So I went into like doing the degree after you finish school sort of thing, but I wasn't really, and I'd end up dropping out. Right?
What was the degree?
It was just like a standard business degree.
Yeah, I got you.
But it was at UQ up in Brisbane, and I ended up like just dropping out because I wasn't really doing it. Let's be honest. I was just DJing, playing festivals, parties. Yeah, just enjoying life as a 18 to 20-year-old. Did that for a bit, realized like, nah, this isn't happening. Stopped that, ended up working my dad's business for a couple of years. And then I was like, no, I actually really want to, get in and learn business and learn this. So I ended up down at Bond University, did a business degree there. Still have all of that HECS debt. But anyway, we're getting through that, which is great to see on the tax return every year.
Yeah.
But end up at Bond University. But I ended up at Bond University later, which I think for me was really advantageous. I was running a business at the time. I created a first startup. I'd been working on one previously with my dad, and that was kind of a catalyst for Appifany, and I guess we'll talk about that later on. But I ended up at Bond University later, like 25 to 30, that sort of like age. I'm 35 now. And because I was older, I could appreciate it. I wanted to be there. I had a business. So all my lecturers that I could talk to, I could relate to them. Like, how would you do this? And what would you do with that? And when it comes to marketing, why would this strategy be better than that strategy? And I would use my business as the assignment for like every assignment that I could possibly get my hands on. I would apply it to my business. So it was really, and that's like one thing that I would say to anyone who's going to university or having a startup, having access to those people and being able to do, say, because I did an entrepreneurship degree with a major in digital business.
Nice.
So it was just like an absolute, exactly what I needed to do and what I was doing with some really, really great tutors and lecturers. One amazing lecturer, Matthew Bed, who taught me entrepreneurial growth, who introduced me to my current business partner, Alicia. And he was really pivotal in sort of my journey as an entrepreneur. Very, very successful entrepreneur himself in his own right, and somebody who really mentored me through a lot of good times, bad times, and opened a lot of doors for me to grow as an entrepreneur and meet some of the amazing people that I've met today.
I love that. I was having a giggle at the very, very start of that when you talk about selling sweets. We spoke about that in a couple of pods ago. We reckon every entrepreneur's worth his salt has been the kid in the school playground, 100%. Blazer on, coin jingling, putting a 10 times markup on a refresher or whatever 100%. The sweets are.
Well, the best part was I didn't have to pay for anything. It all came to me. I had no cost of goods.
Yeah, all cash as well, no tax.
Well, we won't talk about that.
Made more money back then, I reckon.
Yeah, it is definitely a training ground, isn't it?
Yeah.
The school suite system. And it gets competitive.
It does. Yeah. It does. Luckily, there wasn't too many kids who knew how to DJ, so I kind of had like a corner on that market.
Yeah.
And
you niched in hard.
I niched in hard. Yeah. Yeah, and everyone had about $10 to come to a party. So, yeah, the numbers worked out pretty good.
That's gold. I'm keen to do a bit of context on today. So 2 businesses, Appifany and Rentsy. I'm keen to learn about both and then learn about, I guess, like I said, the wins, the losses, the strategy behind it as well, and where they're kind of interlinked together, and just go warts and all, right? And just get as much out as we can.
Sure. Yeah. So Appifany, I started 2017, and the real ethos behind that business was starting a place where an entrepreneur with an idea could come and have access to absolutely everybody that they needed under one roof. So we have branding, we have design, we have business strategy, we have software development, we have marketing. What else do we have? Digital advertising. everyone that you could possibly need to start a digital business is there, and it's your team. So instead of having to go out and hire all these people, you could come to Appifany with an idea, and we could take you from idea through to business making money in about 6 to 12 months, depending on the size of the idea, where you're at, and then the maturity of what you want to build. And that was the idea, giving people a place that they could come and that they could feel like they were going to have their hand held, and that they were going to be supported through the journey, and that they were going to get the most up-to-date advice, the best in UI and UX, the best in monetization strategies, what's going on, make sure that they didn't hit the roadblocks that I'd hit in the past, and that they'd avoided, some of those unfortunate things that you go through as an entrepreneur. So started Appifany on my own with nothing, just no handouts, no nothing. It was literally just me.
What were you doing before?
So before that, I was at Bond University, and then I was actually head of digital for a company here on the Gold Coast that does large-scale developments.
Yeah.
And I did work for another digital business for a bit there, but that one sort of went on its way, and I sort of saw some of the things that I didn't like about how they were managing their customers, and they just weren't giving that holistic approach. And I was just looking at it going, yeah, look, I think that there's something here that can be done a lot better. That I really felt like, there wasn't somebody out there that really offered that all-in-one solution for people.
Yeah.
And just gave them trusted advice.
What was the mindset when you made that shift? Because a lot of people sat on that business idea, or most people sit on a business idea for their entire life and never hit go, right? Because of that fear.
Yeah.
You grew up around entrepreneurship. It sounded like you had a great passion for doing things better than what you could witness. Were you just a man on a mission and no one was stopping you, or were there doubts along the way?
I'll be honest with you, people just started reaching out to me and just saying, hey, you know this stuff really well. Can you help me? And I was like, yeah, I'll give you a hand. No worries. Like, I won't charge you for it. What do you need? Like, or what do you want to do? Or what are you doing? Let me help you. So I started helping one person, and somebody else would reach out. Oh, can you help me as well? Oh, I've got this website. Oh, I want to do this app, or I've got this app that's not finished. Can you fix it? Can you finish it? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I would just start helping people. And they started paying me to help. And then I started going, oh my God, okay, so I'm locked into this now. We're doing this. Mm-hmm. This is happening. I had another startup as well that I was growing. I've had quite a few things that haven't worked out, quite a few things that at the same time I've learned a lot of lessons from. And every single time that you do it, you get better, you learn more. I don't ever see them as failures. I always see them as lessons, and if you don't see the lesson, then you're really missing the big picture of what's happened, because that's where the value is. And real entrepreneurs continue to show up, and they are resilient, and that's probably one of the big things. So going back to how it all started was just people reaching out, and me just helping people, because I genuinely like helping people, and I genuinely am passionate about building really great technology and digital businesses, and just working with great people. Like, that's probably one of the biggest things, like, I'm a big believer in, this one life that we have and living it to the fullest, and I just want to do it with the best people I can and have a great time along the way.
We've sat down with a lot of different people on this podcast from different backgrounds. The one core thing is that they never just decided one day, I want to go and make shitloads of money and this is how I'm going to do it. Yes, if you get it right in business, you can make a lot of money, but every single one of those people's journey started from something bigger. Like, we sat down with Ben Handler, who has Buyer's Agent Institute. He was one of the first guys to come to Australia and go, buyer's agency needs to be a thing. And a lot of that, it'd never been done. It had been done in America, but not over here. And a lot of people laughed at him. And he was like, no, he had such a big passion that buyers in Australia needed to be represented properly. And that was his mission. And he scaled one of the biggest buyers agencies in Australia and across Australia and California, and then exited. But everyone that we've sat down with has that bigger why.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I think you've got to. It gets hard. It is really, really hard to start something from the absolute ground up. And, if you've ever seen some of those entrepreneurship diagrams, it is not a linear rise to the top. It is, this morning, I'm having the best day ever, and this afternoon, this is never going to work. Like, I can't. What have
That's
I
a coffee,
done?
mate.
No, what have I done? And then something, you get an email that night and it's back on. We're on, baby. This is all happening.
That's so true, right?
That is entrepreneurship, 100%. And then waking up the next day going, I can't do this, to then getting in and going, actually, you know what? I can. It's hard. It's so hard. And, I think probably one of the biggest things that I would recommend to entrepreneurs is if you can find a really good support system, whether that's a business partner, mentor, people around you doing what you're doing. I'm very fortunate. I've got a good core group of friends that also do run businesses of different sizes, and we can sit there for hours talking about what they're doing, what I'm doing, helping each other out, and we're all at different stages, and there's this mutual respect about that. And, we love sharing each other's wins, and that's the real sort of people that I keep around me.
Yeah, I did a little post about it on Instagram the other day about the power of paying to play. And if we did this, but if I was starting out again, go and find a mentor who's walked the path that you want to go on. Yes, you're going to pay them some money, but it's going to stop you wasting a shit ton of money on the massive mistakes that they're going to stop you making. 100%. And it will fast track your success as well.
Yeah, look, 100%. And I think as well, if you are going to find a co-founder, find one that you can go through hell and back with, because there's going to be some stressful times. It'll stress your personal relationship to the absolute ends of the world. And there'll be times where you just like, we just need a break from each other. And then Lucy's over there nodding. And then there'll be times where it just brings you together and you can just share those moments and just, share those wins together. So finding that right co-founder is so important, or co-founders, because you want to make sure that you're all heading in the same direction, that you all are caring equally as much about the business, and that you really know what your roles are in the business. I've seen a lot of founders, partnerships be fractured by just that not clear understanding from the beginning about who's doing what they're doing here and there. And then it can ruin a great concept or a great business, just that disconnect. So finding that right co-founder is so important.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that we got so lucky with. I mean, Har's been best mates since we were 14.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right. His dad used to pick me up from the train station,
Love that.
take me to football training together.
Yeah.
And then I come over here at 19, Har goes to uni and we catch up here. So
It's awesome.
And even when we started Harwell, we're like, because it was just going to be us two, both revenue generating. Like the business is 50-50, but let's say if I bill more than Harves or Harv bills more than me, who takes more? I mean, fuck, you know what? Everything's a 50-50, because whoever's got more to give at the time gives that, knowing it's going to swing around and come around the other side, which is the best decision we've ever made. And the business has obviously changed a lot since then as well, but the fundamentals haven't. It's 50-50. You give what you've got, and then the other person will do the same. But the trust is the big one. And then the lack of ego. Yes. So we had a strategy session yesterday, and I was kind of reflected on it afterwards. And there's times where I'm feeling really strongly about a certain thing I think we should do, and then vice versa as well. But if I feel real strongly about it and Harv goes, actually, what about A, B, and C? There's no ego to go, well, I think my idea is better. We're so black and white and happy to drop whatever idea it is for the greater good of the business. Yeah. And I think just having that without the second thoughts of, oh shit, well, he got the last idea, I better get the next one, or any of that kind of little games in the back of your head. We're so black and white with each other, and we can be so brutal without worrying about each other's feelings, because we know the rock's there. Yeah. And whatever happens with this business, we want to come out the other side as close, if not closer, than we went into it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, there's just having somebody who's going to give you that support as well, because there are those moments, there are those times when one of you, maybe, they talk about like batteries and stuff like that. One of you, your battery's at 60%, and that other person can come in and go, I'm going to show up because I've got 100 to give. Like, it's like a marriage. It actually is genuinely it's genuinely like a marriage, except you can't get divorced that easily.
I reckon I've become a better partner. Like no banter.
You guys look good together, I'm going to say.
To my missus, I think I'm a better partner and a better dad, because some of the work we've done together is how we best operate with each other as co-founders with coaches. I thought, well, you slightly change that and operate with the same way as my partner. Yeah. All of a sudden, you get a much different response. You're like, this shit works.
Yeah. No, and that mutual respect definitely has to be there, right? And it's a big part of it. So having those sort of, and it's so funny because you see those videos and stuff like that talking about relationships or like marriages and all that, and you're like, that's actually so can relate to like being a co-founder or having somebody else that you're in business with. You can relate to that because, like I was saying, you might have 60% in the tank, but they're like, no, I got this. I can help you. Like I had a day the other day and it was just back to back to back to back. Like I did not have a breath. It was going from one thing to the next to the next. And there was things that needed to get done that were important. And luckily I had a co-founder who recognized that, just stepped in, no questions asked. Hey, I'm going to just go bang, bang, bang and handle all this stuff for you. Because at the moment, my EA is like we were talking about overseas at the moment, which is just, made it a lot more more intense. The day-to-day management of everything, running multiple businesses is a lot more intense when your EA is gone. And I would definitely say, as we were talking about beforehand, if you can, I would highly recommend getting somebody to help you in that. If you get to that level, 100%. Like, couldn't recommend it more. It's been one of the best things I've done in business.
Now, I want to go back to the ones that haven't worked out, the failures, because I think that's really important. You spoke about it quite stoically and quite wise, where, yes, it didn't go right, but we learned.
Yeah.
Was it that calm and composed at the time? How did it feel? And when did the realization come that, hey, I actually need to cut my losses here and put my energy into something else that's going to give me a better ROI? Just talk us through that period.
It's definitely not as smooth as it feels today. At the time, you feel like the world's ending. You feel like you've put so many years of your life and money and time into something. And sometimes it's at the cost of relationships as well, which is probably one of the hardest parts of it. But I think if you can get through it and you can keep moving forward, every setback makes you stronger. It really does. And it teaches you all of those little lessons that you need to do it better the next time. There's that really great saying that I got from my co-founder, and it's like, life will continue to teach you lessons until you learn them. And it's really important that you reflect on those lessons and see them just as that. It's not a failure. It's a lesson to be learned to make you stronger for the next time. And I think that that's so important when it comes to entrepreneurship. And it was one of the big things that one of my mentors, Matthew, taught me. What is an entrepreneur? They're extremely resilient. They will go through hell and back. If you look at any of the greatest entrepreneurs ever, they've had these stories where it was just like, Elon thought that Tesla was going to be gone. And then the next week he was able to unlock the capital he needed to keep the factories alive and everything. Like these real sliding doors moments where you either break through the ceiling or you bounce off it and, you fall into a heap. Sometimes you have to, you're never going to hit it out of the park straight away. If you do, congratulations, well done. You've just won the lottery, because it doesn't happen that way. It really doesn't. And anyone to just think that they're just going to start something and then the world's just going to rush to it and like stop everything that they're doing to focus on what you're doing is sort of naive, right? In this sort of attention economy that we have now, the people who you do see those sort of overnight successes for, they've been building a community for years. They've been building an audience for years, and then they've unlocked something that their audience and their community want. To start something from the ground up, so organic, and doing it from the grassroots is really, really difficult. So just jump in with 2 feet and don't look back. You'll enjoy the ride.
Yeah. In those dark moments when those businesses did fail and you kept going, did you just have unwavering belief in yourself, like in Will as a person, or was it more so the new idea came along and you had so much belief in that, you're like, nah, this one's going to work?
Definitely wasn't the first one. Definitely was not. There was a lot of times just questioning like myself and did I cause this? What could I have done better? Is this how things are going to be? Should I have just gone and got a stable job and gone down that path? I think it was, for me, luckily, the support network that I had. It really was. It's tough doing what we do and having those setbacks and those failures, especially with some of the loss that isn't just financial. And that's harder than the financial stuff. Like money comes and goes. Some of those relationships don't, and that's hard. So yes, it was extremely hard at the time. I was very lucky to have a very good support network of people that could kind of like, be there as that sort of net, which, when I say very lucky, I mean like extremely lucky. Some people don't have that, and that's really sad and unfortunate. So finding that community and that group of friends, going back to what I said before, is so important, because I have friends right now at all different stages of business. Some are going through amazing times, some are going through tough times, but they can talk to me about it, or we can talk, and, we can confide in each other and help each other get through it. And sometimes it's just a phone call and just being able to get something off your chest. And once it's off your chest, you're just like, I can get through this. And then you talk it through and you're like, you know what, as bad as that is.
Hey guys, it's Jake and Lockie from Naturally Cooked Sunscreen, and we are pumped to be sponsoring the Two Blokes, One Business podcast.
We're on a mission to foster a generation of Australians who take sun safety more seriously and encourage it amongst their mates. You can find us at naturallycooked.com.au or follow us at Naturally Cooked Sunscreen.
It's actually, these things are going really great. And then, just that's really important, I think, to be able to have that support network. So, I mean, some people find it in co-working spaces, some people find it in like accelerators and, mentorship programs and all that sort of stuff, or having paid mentors. I would really recommend it. It isn't just one of those things. It's like, oh, it's a cliche. It's genuine.
The game changer. Talk to me about the internal versus the external, because this is something that we've grown a team now at Harwell. We've got a team of 8, and that's going to grow to 10 and beyond, right? And there's definitely times where the external has to look a lot more assured and confident and have a lot more conviction than the internal might do at the time, right? Talk to me about you during those tougher periods, and what was the reflection of internal to external?
Couldn't agree more. You have to show it with a brave face, no matter what's going on behind the scenes. And that's probably one thing that, it's, I'm glad you actually touched on that, because it doesn't get spoken about a lot. Being a founder and growing a team, our team at Appifany is around 9 or 10, I think, at the moment. We're hiring a couple new people at the moment. And Rentsy, our Rentsy team is growing rapidly as well. There's things that go on in business that your team just don't realize is happening behind the scenes, right? And they're there to do a job, and you are there as a team. But it's like being the coach of a football team, right? There's getting pressure from here, there's pressure from there. You've got to meet these, certain things. You've got this thing that come out of nowhere, and then these different things. Showing up with that brave face, I think, is so important, and it's difficult. It really is difficult sometimes to come in, everything's great, when everything's not great. And the world feels like it's imploding in on you, and you've got to just show up again and again and again. It's a very difficult thing to do. I think that probably really segues back to finding that great co-founder, because there have been moments where I've just said, hey, I need the morning. I'm like putting my phone on airplane mode till 1. That's when my next meeting is. I'll be in then. Please don't have anyone even try and contact me. I just need the morning. And then did what I needed to do, came in. All right, let's go. So it's really, really great. And I'm sure you guys have had moments like that as well, and understand how great that is to have somebody like that can support you.
Yeah, we think it's our superpower. It's the saying of 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 in the business sense. Like, yes, from a technical side of things, like Ad said, we had a big strategy day yesterday. He's got an idea, I've got an idea. So there's 2 ideas, but then we kind of land on this third idea as if we've got a third brain is what we kind of like to say. But on the more kind of physical things, like you said about your battery, at the moment, I've got a 2.5-year-old and a 4-month-old. I was up 5 times last night, with the 2.5-year-old just waking up every hour. But I know that he can come in and give a bit extra if I'm struggling, and vice versa. When he's going to go away on his honeymoon, I'm going to come and step up and return the favor. Yeah. So it is really kind of that. We felt it de-risked us. Yeah. And even from a financial perspective, in the early days, we had a 3-month. We tipped all our savings into this business, and we had a 3-month runway in our banks of personal living expenses. But we were like, okay, we both start this together. If either of us fills a job at a 20K average fee, which is what we typically work with, we can pay ourselves for a month. And then the other person might fill a job, and there's the second month. It's just so much easier to do that with the power of 2 of us than just jump in on your own.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, and I think you were just alluding to this, is finding a co-founder with complementary skill sets. If you for all great at tech, and I'm definitely the tech founder of this duo, also tech support half the time anyway. But you bring different things to the table, right? And those skills are so important. And, the networks and the learnings that they have as well to bring, from their past experiences working, whether it's startups or doing investments or working at corporate, all of those different life lessons, people lessons, seeing something that maybe you don't see because I'm so focused on one side of the business and I've got to get this done and this is, has to be in or it's due, that you miss that one of your team members is a bit off. Having that person there that can see those sorts of things and then go, hey, we probably need to sit down and I've just seen something over here, forest from the trees sort of stuff.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's gold.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your customers, Appifany, right? Because I think that could be very, very similar to the type of people who will be listening to this, right? We've got an idea. We know we want to do something. We don't want to work at the big corporate for the next 30 years. We've seen Sue in accounts and she looks like shit and I don't want that to be me.
Sorry, Sue.
Sorry, Sue.
Right, if you're listening. Fuck that.
So you can get out.
There's hope.
Help is available. 1-300 any app.
So potentially they don't want to go and recruit themselves, right? That's not the avenue they want to go down. If there was a business in the world that offered that, that'd be great, but there's not. But they've got an idea, right, for a digital business.
Yeah.
So the kind of people who come to you, give me example A and example B. Example A is the person who's thought it through. You look at them, they tell you about their prep, what they've done. You go, you're going to make this work. Then tell me about person B, who probably for not intention, but they just don't have it at that point in time.
I know exactly those two different people. Those personas, A is the entrepreneurs we like to work with, right? And I'll tell you who they are. They're involved in that industry in some capacity, right? They've been thinking about it for a long time. They've really done their research. They understand the problem and they know that they have the right solution. I'll know within 5 to 10 minutes of talking to somebody if that's the sort of person that they are, right? And we have a very thorough sort of vetting process because we get about 80 to 100 people a month that want to build apps with us. Yeah, it's quite expensive, right? Because we're Australia-wide.
Yeah.
So getting down to those people, that is type A, right? Type B is I want to make money. I think that there's money in the schooling system, but I've done this for my whole life and it has nothing to do with the schooling system. Came up with it last week and, can I get it done for 10 grand?
That's how we started Harwell.
Well, that's amazing. You are the outlier. And those people, unfortunately, both people need help, right? One person needs a lot more help than the others. We're here to obviously support people however they need to be, but the people who I really believe are successful are the ones who genuinely understand the problem and that they really want to create a better solution and that they're not just doing it for the money, but they're doing it for a bigger why. There's a greater purpose to this than just, I think there's money in the schooling system, but I've been doing this other thing my whole life. I want to make money over here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but that very, 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 very rarely works out because you wouldn't even use the product yourself. That's another thing with person A. Would you be a customer of your own product? And if you can say yes to that, that's a big tick.
Would you say then that's the number one thing that most startup founders miss? It's that process you've just been through of actually going, here's the why and here's my passion behind it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think the best ideas come from the people who understand the problem. For me, I think a lot of the success that I've had with Appifany has been because I would 100% be a customer. I am a customer of Appifany. Appifany's built Rentsy, right? Yeah. We are a customer. We get treated like a customer. We have meetings. We have different workshops. We have developers that are allocated towards our project. We are a customer of Appifany, and I would 100% be a customer of Appifany. So I understand the journey that an entrepreneur would want from, I've had this idea to build a rental and hire marketplace, which will completely revolutionize a fragmented industry and bring it all into one place so you can hire everything you possibly need for a wedding or a party and event in one place with one transaction, all the way through to that's now available, has over 250 businesses on it and is scaling quickly. That's what we do. And that's where we help people. So me being that customer A, I very much understand that that's what it takes to really create something amazing. And I'm sure you guys could probably say that you were in a very similar journey, been thinking about it for a while, been probably working in the industry, thinking we can do this much better. And there wasn't just a financial incentive, but we want to actually, be able to have a better life and be able to do all these things. And I want to do it with somebody who has been a friend of mine, since I was 15. Like, I totally get that. My best friends are all friends of mine since I've been like 13, and we've picked up really amazing friends and people along the way. But I have this amazing group of friends, about 10 to 15 of my mates from my hometown up in Toowoomba. And we're still friends from when we were like 13, 14, 15. That's 20-year plus relationships. That's so rare these days, So it's great to be able to do it with people like that.
So from what you're describing, mate, I think there's no doubt on the tangible implementation that you'd have for this person A. I've got the idea, you're going to help me create it. What about the intangible and the mindset? Because they're still potentially not a business owner. So they're going to go through the fear, the doubt, the other side of it, the ecstaticness, you know what I mean? Probably the rush, hey, I'm going to make $1 billion. How do you as a company, I guess, manage them and keep them level to make sure they become a success story and actually can deliver?
Yeah, expectations. Really setting those expectations. And we have a tried and tested methodology and process from how we take you from idea all the way through to business making money and then supporting you long-term for that. And we follow the same process and methodology, whether it's an entrepreneur client, a small, medium, large business, or an ASX listed company. Our projects, and we've done government projects as well. We've done 4 or 5 government projects for different governments and government-backed organizations. So all those different people at all those different sizes, everyone has different expectations and different, whys of why they're doing it. With a lot of the big businesses, it's really about process optimization and realizing that they've gotten to such a huge size and they really need something which is going to unlock time, capital, mean that they don't have to continue to hire in areas and stuff like that. So all these different whys and expectations. But really when you set that expectation and you take them through the process, yes, you believe in them. And we do. Like all of the entrepreneurs that we work with, we genuinely believe in what they're doing. And we want to be a part of that. We have this amazing group of clients that we're working with and that we've continued to work with for such a long time and support that all we want to do is see them win. That's all we want to do, because if they win, we all win together. And that's what life's about, right?
From your experience and your opinion as well, jumping into entrepreneurship, I think we can all agree you have to have massive why and you have to go all in. If you really want to change an industry or create a business that's there forever, you've got to go all in. Do you remember what you did to structure your life around that, to de-risk all the other areas of your life? Because people listening to this might have a mortgage, they might have kids, they don't necessarily have 200K in the bank to just go all in. And if we don't make money for 6 months, that's okay. What small steps could they make to make that transition easier?
So for them, stick to your day job, right? And I mean that in the best way, where it's like, don't go risking everything. This is my personal opinion. If you're in that situation, you got a mortgage, you got kids, don't go risking the whole house on that. Continue to do what you're doing, but find 30 to 40 hours in your week where you can work on your business or your side hustle, until your side hustle takes over your main hustle. And that transition, you've got to kind of weigh up your risk, your appetite for risk, right? So, if you're willing to and just say, hey, we're going to risk it, we've got 3 months, right? And just go hard on this. We're going to either make it or break it. Amazing. Like, you shot for the stars, and you guys are, obviously living proof that can happen and that you're doing phenomenal and things are growing. That's amazing. And for somebody who's maybe got more of a established family, mortgage, all that sort of stuff, I would just say find 30 hours or 40 hours in your week where you can work on your side hustle until it's paying you enough where you can go, you know what? You may not even be getting the same amount of money that you were getting from your job, but you go, I can actually live on what this is now paying me. And then what happens is then you get your extra 40 hours a week to then work on that. And then that breaks you through that tipping point where you're not just making what you were making, but you're now making more.
Yeah.
That's the strategy that I would give to that type of person.
And that's where I love what you spoke about as well. create a business where you've got experience or where you've got knowledge, where you'd be your own customer potentially, or you understand the real pain points of what now will be your paying clients. And that's why, the business we shared that we're starting, we're targeting people that might have had a career as an accountant. They're bored of it, but they don't want to let all that leverage and knowledge and expertise go to waste. So let's teach them how to recruit and put that knowledge and the expertise and even just kind of the network into recruitment, because you can get so many quick early wins rather than being an accountant and go, I'm going to go and recruit salespeople. Yeah. Because these accountants will have worked for 3, 4, 5 accountancy firms over the years. They'll know the stresses and the pains of their bosses. Yeah. They also know the role better than what I will. I recruit accountants, but I've never been an accountant. Yeah. So they can talk the language more. So that just speeds up your kind of that time frame to that tipping point where you punch through and replace those earnings.
Yeah. So there's 3 things in entrepreneurship which can really help you to find that idea. And this might be really helpful for your audience, but it's who you are, what you know, and who you know. Right. And if you look at those 3 things that you have, like for instance, if I put Rentsy into my shoes. So who am I? Young entrepreneur. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have kids yet. I have a higher appetite for risk, right? What I know technology very, very well. I know digital business extremely well. I know a great opportunity when I see one, and I run it through a very, very fine filter to make sure that it ticks all of the boxes. And who do I know? I have an amazing group of people around me who, like my co-founder or investors or business people or even people on my team, that all help in some ways. So running Rentsy through who am I, what I know, and who I know, that idea has fostered from that, and we've been able to create something phenomenal from that. So if you are looking to create an idea, run it through those 3 questions. Who am I? What do I know? And who do I know? And does this business idea fit those? And how can I leverage what I've got there?
Gold. I'm keen to dive into Rentsy now and then learn about that, ask a similar kind of questions, and then probably look at the differences between the 2. And then what it means for you as a leader of 2 different businesses, what kind of energy you give to them, what role changes happens per business as well. So I guess from the top, Rentsy, where did the idea come from? Who are we trying to serve?
So Rentsy was a concept quite a few years ago when I was involved in another business. And it was an idea just at first. I was traveling overseas. We were doing some hires while we were overseas. We were renting some stuff. And it was around the time that Uber Eats was starting to really sort of take off. So the aggregation of a lot of small businesses that couldn't afford to develop sophisticated technology was really starting to, get some legs. And I sort of saw, okay, that they're doing that for restaurants, right? Uber Eats, when it came to Australia, started in Melbourne. It was just for cafes, right? Didn't have a delivery network, couldn't afford to do the technology, and definitely didn't have the marketing budget for large scale marketing. So they've developed a platform, got all the small businesses on one place, the restaurants, and they've aggregated them in. On that trip overseas, thinking, why hasn't somebody done this for the rental and hire industry? You're talking car hire, boat hire, jet ski hire, ski, snowboard hire, party and event hire, everything from baby cot to a Lamborghini, right? And everything in between. Why hasn't somebody taken such a fragmented market and just put it in one place and given you access to be able to book all of these things very, very easily? So that was the idea. And then I had another business that I was involved with. My co-founder was an investor in, and, at the time it sort of progressed, and then sort of COVID hit, and we talked about it more, and we just talked about it more and more and more. And we end up having what we do, treadmill meetings. So we end up just on the treadmill at the gym. It's a really good way of getting your cardio in, by the way. If you want to get cardio in, go just stand on the treadmill and do a meeting on that. An hour will fly by and you'll be getting shredded. So we just talked more and more, and then we're like, we need to do something with this. We really need to. And then so we started developing it, and then we really started creating the business and formulating the business. And then from there, we really just made the decision to jump in with both feet. Appifany was going, it was doing its thing. I was growing the team there. So we had more resources. We had what we needed to grow that. And, we both jumped in with 2 feet and made it happen. And now we have over 3,000 items on the platform here on the Gold Coast, over 250 businesses locally here signed up in a very short amount of time. Gold Coast is our our initial beta market, or like we've been testing it here. We've had, I think, 120,000 people in the last 30 days who've seen it and come in and created accounts or been a part of it, or it's just been phenomenal. Like the growth that we've had in such a short amount of time with what we've been able to do whilst still being very measured with it as well has just been phenomenal to see. And probably one of the hardest parts has been really holding the reins. Like just because this is something that can really go, being quite measured in our approach. Like we could go Australia wide like that, and we have signups from Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, all over the country already, but we haven't unlocked those cities because we've held the reins, and we're really trying to understand who our customer is, what they need, what the businesses need, and make sure that we build this in a way that when we are ready to let go of the reins, that it grows and scales at a phenomenal rate that it deserves to and will.
How do you battle that? Because I'm sure you've invested a lot of time and a lot of capital into this business, and to be sat there going, we could let go of the reins and this would go massive, but just to keep hold, that's so hard.
It's measured. You have to be measured. You really have to, because, you know, we've been fortunate enough to have an investment group that's invested in our initial round. We only wanted to bring on, you know, a small round of people that could offer value beyond just, here's some finances, because to be honest, we could have funded the project ourselves. We did fund the project ourselves and continued to fund the project ourselves at a major part of it. But we wanted to bring in a strategic investor who has a venture capital group here on the Gold Coast that they have a fund for. And taking that measured approach, I think that just comes from experience. Everyone, and I see this a lot with entrepreneurs, they're like, yeah, we want to be global straight away. And I'm like, oh, you're playing with fire. Like you've got GDPR compliance. If you're just talking about Europe on its own, then you've got servers in different areas and you've got different taxation laws. It ain't easy as just, we just want to be global straight away. Great if you're a store on Shopify and you sell t-shirts, but to actually build something like what we're doing it in a measured way, like I keep talking about, is so important. If you even look at the strategy that one of the biggest platforms in the world, Facebook, they started not in one city, but in one university, on one campus, the biggest platform in the world, one campus, just in Harvard. Yeah. And then they did what's called the Little Bighorn strategy, where they actually then would go to another Ivy League campus, like Stanford, it became available, and then another one. So you could only access Facebook, I think it's like early 2004, by being a member of these universities. And then they went, okay, you just have to have a university email. Okay. And then it started getting out to workplaces and then available in different areas. So there's nothing wrong with starting small and being measured in your approach, because if you do it right, you're controlling the scale, right? One thing that we did see with Rentsy is people have tried to do this before and they've failed miserably. Like let's be frank about this. And these are companies that have raised some significant funds to do it. They haven't been able to get a fifth of the traction that we've been able to get in a very short amount of time. Right. And I think that it's just our experience, our approach. We've interviewed, and I have hour to 2 hours with 250 businesses that we've spent time with, understanding their business. And doing this for so many businesses that work in so many different ways is extremely difficult. It takes time, it takes patience, but I think holding the reins right now is going to pay dividends in the future, because we don't have 250 businesses scattered across Australia. We have 250 local businesses on the Gold Coast that you can hire absolutely everything and anything you could possibly need in one place with one transaction.
You must be so excited, having seen what happened with Uber Eats. And like I say, you've gone really deep in an area of the Gold Coast at the moment. So word's going to travel fast and you nail it, and proof of concept.
Yeah.
And then you go, right, let's take Brisbane. But you know it already works. So you just repeat this.
It's so true. Do not scale it until you nail it. Like that is so true. Make sure that you nail it in one area. Even if it's one university campus, we've interviewed every single customer who's booked on Rentsy. Every single customer has said, I would recommend it to a friend and I would use it again. And then we talk to them about all the different, would you use it for car hire? Would you use it for, kids' parties? Would you use it for your birthday hire? And they've said on multiple different categories that they would hire again from different things. That is product market fit. That is understanding your customer. That is understanding your businesses. And that's making sure that when you do go to do it in Brisbane, which is the next market that we will be opening up, that we already have, I think, about 40 or 50 stores that have signed up for Brisbane already, that we know that we're doing it right, that we know that we're doing it efficiently, and that we know we have a product that customers love. On the other side of it, there's been great feedback that we've had where customers have said, this could be better, or this wasn't very clear, or I wasn't quite sure of the process. So we've made small incremental improvements along the way very rapidly in order to be able to address those, make sure they're there, and then we're going to scale it.
What you just rolled through there is the blueprint, right, of how to really test your product. Compare that to the old Will from business number one. Is it night and day in terms of the prep and the research and the testing and the data? Well,
business number one, I did see the enjoyment on the kids' face as they ate the candy. That was about as deep as we got with the product market fit.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy. Everyone's high on sugar. But good business. So no, but to actually address it, it's a very different approach. My first business and like real entrepreneurial venture where money and time was really poured into it that wasn't a success. I'm an 18 to 21-year-old kid and I'm learning and I'm failing and I'm picking myself up, and I didn't have the knowledge that I have now, and I didn't have the group of people or the mentors or the maturity, I really believe. That's not to say that if you're 18 to 21 years old that you shouldn't start a business. Do it now. Start something.
Even if it's just anything.
100%. Even if it's literally go put a little bit of paper in everybody's mailbox, knock on your local doors and say, hey, Dad's got a mower. Can I mow your lawns this week? And you walk around 10 houses mowing lawns for $15. I'd definitely pay someone $15 to mow my lawn, by the way. And you did that every week and you earn $150, from the 10 houses in your neighborhood. That's how a great business starts. That's how an idea starts, and you learn something, and you learn that this guy didn't pay you, so you're not mowing his lawn that week. So just all of those business lessons come, and I think that it's just university teaches you a lot, and I think it gives you a really great foundation. I don't have an exact answer on do you need a degree to be an entrepreneur, because I don't think you definitely need a degree to be an entrepreneur. There's a lot of amazing entrepreneurs that didn't go down the route of getting a degree. If you were doing the degree thing, I would say couple it, make sure that they're complementary, in some way.
Yeah, we spoke about this, didn't we, on that episode, and that we think I personally think the education system's a little bit flawed at the moment, and that's one of our potential sub ICPs for this new business is the people that are 18 to 23. They don't want to go down the traditional university path, but they don't know what they want to do. So we can teach them the skills. Yes, recruitment, but the skills they'll learn, whether it's their forever career or forever business or not, the skills they'll learn through going and doing entrepreneurship is skills that you'll never lose, and you can go and apply that to similar businesses but slightly different and have another go.
Yeah, 100%. Have a crack. Give it a go. Start a business with a friend. Have some fun while you're doing it. We're not all just doing this to make money. We're doing this to have a great life and do it with the people that you love. And if we win, that's amazing. If we lose, we learn together.
What would be 3 tips, mate, if you can go back and speak to younger Will, maybe after the selling sweets business wrapped up, be 18, you've got all this energy and this ticker to go and do something.
Yeah.
What would be a bit of a tap on the shoulder to 3 bits of advice you can give him to not essentially save some of the pain, because we need to go through that, but maybe just open his eyes a little bit more to what's to come?
It's a really good question. I think that if I was to go back and talk to my younger self, probably the biggest advice that I would give my younger self is everything's going to be okay. Even if it doesn't work out, it'll be okay. And you can start something, you can always start again. and it's never too late to start again. My mum is building an app with us.
Nice.
You know, she's in her 60s and she's got this phenomenal concept and idea that's about to launch. It's amazing. One of our other clients in his 80s, he's built 2 apps with us. Amazing ideas we're helping him with. It's never too late to start again. And I would just say, like, even if you fail, learn the lesson, pick yourself up and keep moving forward. That's the one thing I would tell.
One last question. How do you define success now?
Another great question. I think right now how I define success is, does this move me forward towards my goals? And a success for me can even be a very, very small win. Does that push me towards where my goals are? And goals aren't always financial. I've got lots of goals when it comes to freedom. You know, there are obviously financial goals. There should be. Family, friendship. Does what I'm doing now allow me to get closer to those goals and those personal things that I want to be able to have? And for me, the financial side is only a very small portion of that. Having the freedom, the ability to spend time with my friends, my health, my family, being able to go to the gym at the mornings and start my day when I do, and do all of that with people that I love working with, and a team that I can only speak on my behalf, but I genuinely feel like when we all come to work, it doesn't feel like coming to work. And I genuinely, I do feel like my team feels that as well. And that's an amazing thing. Me and my business partner will talk till 9 o'clock at night and then be on the phone at 7 a.m. because I just had another idea. Doing those things and it not feeling like work, that's success in life.
Yeah.
Doing what you love.
That's the biggest thing of entrepreneurship. And when you're doing something for yourself, like we left corporate 2.5, 3 years ago now. I don't feel like I've worked a day ever since. I can't remember, we were at an event and someone asked me a question about this and I just said, it feels like we're 2 kids in a playground. Like it's a game, like the adrenaline you get from it, the fun. And it's like, obviously we take things very seriously, like financial stability, because we've got staff that rely on us. But as us two, I don't feel like I've worked a day in 2.5, 3 years. And I've probably never worked more hours.
Yeah.
And that is so, so freeing. When you go back to the Sunday scaries, the clock watching, when you're at work in retail or hospitality, like that shift, we probably take it for granted.
Yeah.
It's fucking incredible.
Yeah. And I know today, like we've spoken about a lot of highs and lows and like the reality of what entrepreneurship is actually like. But my probably biggest message is that it's worth it. It's so worth it. When you can do what you love with people that you love, have wins along the way, and that it gives you the freedom to be able to have a good life and be happy and healthy, it's worth it.
All right, mate, thanks so much for coming on. If you've inspired someone here, or if someone wants to start an app, or if they want to hire someone out on Rentsy or hire something, where do they find you, mate? So
if you've got an app idea and you want help with it, or even a digital business idea, find us on appifany.com.au. So it's appifany.com.au. And if you do want to hire something, we are available now on the Gold Coast. But if you are seeing this in the future, we will be Australia-wide within the next 12 to 18 months. And you can find absolutely everything you need to hire for your next wedding, party, engagement party, even just a boys' weekend, which is the one thing that I seem to be hiring for, and date nights. You can find it all on rentsy.com.au. So yeah, jump on, check it out, have a look at the thousands of things that we've got for offer, and support a local business as well. You know, not just us, but also the hundreds of small businesses that have joined the platform and that are booking items out every week on us now.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Nailed it.